All right, it is 1:30. Welcome to another Wicked Smart webinar. And if this is your first time here, my name is Andy Bonts. I'm the marketing director at Midwest Family in Madison. We started this Wicked Smart webinar series last March or so, and our goal really is to bring experts from around the country and even around the world. We've had some experts from England. Actually, I think we had two from England. So talking about all different types of topics and bringing resources and answering questions that you knew you had, and maybe answering some of the ones that you never knew you needed to know. So, or needed to have, right? So here's some important information. So the recording and slides, so this is being recorded. So you'll have access to this sent to your email by 2 o'clock tomorrow. And we'll also send a little bit of a trimmed down version of Chuck's slides today, so you can have those as a resource. Feel free to ask questions. You can ask them via the chat box there and type those in, and we'll either save them. If they're timely, we'll answer them right then. And we'll also have 5 to 10 minutes at the end for Q&A. So stick around for that. Follow us on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and type in Midwest Family, you'll be able to see all of our previous Wicked Smart webinar topics going back all the way to last March, April. So you can see a lot of the great speakers that we've had. Follow us on LinkedIn. And if you are on social media, and we'd love it if you would share via some of these hashtags if you want to use these for your social media. So today we are very lucky. We have a gentleman named Chuck Medford joining us today. He is the author of three books. I've read all three of them, and they're great. He's one of the best storytellers I've heard live and in person at an event we hold called Brandsformation. And he is the founder of Brandsformation. Today, you're going to learn his four-step system, where he took these businesses and drove some really significant results for them and helped turn their brand from kind of like, in most cases, a no-name to a legacy-based business that is going to kind of create a legacy environment for that family that started that business. And I think that is a really neat thing to be a part of. And that is one of the biggest reasons why I'm excited to have Chuck here, because of all of the risk you take as a business owner. You deserve to leave something for your family and for the next generation of whoever takes over your business. And Chuck's going to talk about how to, from a branding standpoint, get there. So I'm going to stop share and pass it over to our valued guest, Chuck.
All right. Thank you, Andy. I was going to say, I'm not from England, mate. I'm just a cheesehead living in Dallas. And let me get the share up here. Is it sharing? And let's see if we can do that. How's that look, Andy?
Looks great, bud.
All right. Well, welcome. I am delighted and very excited and just humbled the fact you guys would take your time out this afternoon as we head into the big old Memorial Day weekend and as we start to get COVID free. But welcome to, I decided what we're going to do is just camp out. And, it's almost, it is spring, it's summer, and it'll be hell, the fifth season here in Dallas pretty soon, where it's 100 degrees every day. But it's camping time, man. And I grew up in Michigan, Wisconsin, and the one thing you always do is you want to go up north and you want to go camping. So we're going to camp out. So campers, get your lottie-dottie, mocha latte or whatever you're drinking, and pull a log up around the campfire, and let's have a little brand camp, where businesses build their brand. All right. Well, I'm excited, like I said, that you're here. And I'm excited I'm here. You know why? Because I started on my journey a long time ago. This is back when I started out in marketing. I had a perm, I had a mustache, I had a $43 double knit suit from Goldblatt's, and I had hope. Now look at me. You don't want to look at me. In fact, when you get as old as I am, they just make you a cartoon. So that's the good news. And you never change after that, because I don't look like my book covers anymore. That's for sure. But I will tell you this, and here's the thing to remember. If you went to college or any kind of institution for marketing knowledge, most of that stuff was for like if you're working at Procter and Gamble, right? And that's not where you're going to learn today. You're going to learn how you help a small business grow like 2 million to size 20 million size business, because that's where most of it's at. Small to mid-sized, but I've certainly worked with businesses well over 100 million in sales. But in terms of 80, 90% of the small business out there, that's you're between 2 and 20 million, and they don't teach you that in college. What I'm going to share with you is 40 years of doing it the hard way. I always say I'm here for 4 reasons today. I'm older than most of you all. I've screwed up more than most of you. I've spent literally tens of millions of dollars of other people's money called ad budget for the last 27 years as a marketing firm called Brandsformation. And I've written 3 books about that experience. And by the way, I'm paid on results, which makes it pretty rare for an ad agency. So I'm pretty attuned to what works and doesn't work in terms of how it affects your sales and your profit and loss statement. And so let me, if I, in my ADD way, share with you a few lessons I've learned along the way. And it's not that hard. If it was, I wouldn't be here talking about it. But I do know this. A lot of business owners don't have a blueprint. They kind of take what's coming at them and they might think about it, but there's so many things going on in a business, as you know, and sometimes we're the head janitor to head bookkeeper and everything else in between, bottle washer, et cetera. But the one thing I can tell you that the biggest fatal mistake that I see most business is they don't have a plan. And what I want to share with you today, it's not a building physical plan, and that's going to cost you a lot more every day as if you got lumber. But I'm talking about a marketing plan. And that's what I want today to be for you, is give you the start, and it's going to come fast. I am just prescribed ADD, and I did not take the meds, so it's going real fast. So you might have to slow this down. If you watch the video, back it down to 33 1/3, and you'll get that if you're as old as I am. So what is a legacy? I never really liked that. I didn't tell Andy. I was a wild about the word legacy, because to me that was a financial counselor telling me why I had to invest my money with them. So I had something to give down to my 4 brats. I have 4 boys: Matt, John, Luke, and Levi, because I didn't like Mark. But here's the legacy. The definite, true Webster definition, or Funkin' Wagnall's definition of a legacy, besides handing down your fortune to your brats. It's something transmitted by or received from an ancestor or predecessor. And you know what really that is? It's the best form of advertising in the world. It's called word of mouth. It could be just them passing down the good name. If I had an uncle that owned a company and it was named Rolex, that'd be a pretty good name to pass on. But I don't call this branding. In fact, my whole team here at Brandsformation, we call it bonding, because really the word Brandsformation has been kind of quote unquote bastardized. So what's really the key to bonding? There's really 4 keys, steps, if you wanted to be remembered, to have something that you can build and pass down through the ages. And it's 4 simple steps. I'd like to share them with you, and let's go through them right now. All right. The first 4, or first one, is customer focus. I couldn't come up with an M for that. But after that, it's what I call more the 3 M's of marketing, and how you become a legacy, or what we call a permanent SEO. Anytime someone needs what you do, they think of you first and feel best about you. To me, that's a legacy brand. So you got to be customer focused. You got to have a clear message, but simple message. You got to do it the right way in the media, which is a really crazy today because there's so many choices. And then you do one thing that most people don't know is really have some measures before you begin the journey. All right. So let's begin our journey quickly here this afternoon and talk about customer focus, customer focus, customer focus. What am I talking about? Good example. Kentucky Fried Chicken. What do they do a year in sales? About $1 million. What's Chick-fil-A do in sales? Try $4 million. Buck, buck, buck. Are you kidding me? They both sell chicken. It's the same. So Truett Cathay, the owner of Chick-fil-A, will say it's not because its chicken's 4 times better, and they finally made it up north, as you know. It's because what they do for the customer beyond the product or service. It's called the 40-60 rule. 40% of any successful business is based on, yes, your product or service, but fully 60% of the successful people that I know, it's what you do for the customer. Watch, beyond the product and service. What do you do to wow the customer? What is it you do oh so well that they want to keep coming back, that they'll tell their friends and neighbors the story about what you did? That's a Chick-fil-A, go back to the example, and you might have heard that what happened in South Carolina. They had a backup of COVID. It was like 2-hour delay for shots. So who the mayor of the South Carolina, he didn't call a logistics guy, he called Chick-fil-A, which is probably the best logistics person in the world, because they do 4 lines now down in Dallas, 4 lanes, because it's about how you deliver and wow the customer with these bright young college kids, and they never say thank you, just my pleasure, a higher form of thank you. And so what are you doing for the customer beyond the product? And what I'm really saying is you can't put lipstick on a pig. I'm going to be real blunt. You got to have a good business and something that people talk about. One of my guys I work with is in Joplin, the Hinkles, and they're just a great couple. They were up 62% last year, and they're beating that right now. And everyone knows them in Joplin. They're top of mind because they go a lot more beyond mowers and hardware and rakes and shovels. You need something, they'll have it the next day or within, because they got to compete against Amazon. We all do, right? Even your website. What's a customer focused website? Does it say what you're going to do? Does it tell the customer how they're going to feel? Do you have ratings, reviews 4+? Because if you don't, you're dog meat. Why go any further if you're not at least a 4? I got plenty of other 5s out there, 4 point. And how can I buy it? It's called the money or the action button. And do you have a lead gen? So even to be customer focused in everything, in every brand channel you're in, not just your physical bricks and mortar or how you do your service. It's again how they find you. It's a total customer focus, customer focused attitude. It's understanding the only reason you exist is for the customer. If you didn't have a customers, where would you be? It's called chapter 11. It's not good. All right. So the 4 keys to bonding. Number 1, customer focus. Number 2, the message. The first of the 3 M's now, what we call is you got to have a clear message. And again, this is about bonding. It's about being liked. And what makes a brand so powerful is it's higher than knowing about the business. You're at the feel, the deepest level possible. Because if I can create emotion and make you like me, or even not like me, at least you know me, spell my name right. And that's the trick today when 5,000 plus messages are banging in on everyone today. How do you stand out? How do you get liked? Let me show you. All right, let's start with a message. It starts with telling stories. We call it storytelling bricks because there's 2 components in your messaging, no matter what brand channel you're in. All right, but it's telling powerful stories, frankly, about the customer and how you can help the customer on their journey as a business owner. Remember, the hero of the stories shouldn't be the business owner. They don't care about you. Who do your customers care about? Themselves and their families. And they're trying to, and let's say it's a Memorial Day weekend, and my boat just died yesterday, or my Boston whaler. Okay, so I got a problem. So when I call that marine dealer, they could do a lot of things and tell me how great they are. But the first thing is say, Mr. Mefford, sorry that happened. Where are you at? What can I help you to? Boom, boom. It's all about focusing on me, because I don't care about the boat dealer. I don't care about what I care about is I want to get back on the lake Memorial Day weekend, which obviously is not going to happen. But you want to be in a position that you want to tell stories brick after brick over time. And all these stories, by the way, have to tie together, which we'll talk about next with the mortar. But when you focus on your storytelling, it's really very simple. We use the formula at Transformation for our clients. We call it wiggle. In other words, any story, and I don't care if it's a great movie, novel, anything out there in media that involves a story, generally you're going to have what we call the wiggle factor. There's always a bad witch, the problem, my boat's broke. There's the good witch, the marine dealer who can help me, because again, I'm the hero and I want to get back to my Labor Day or my Memorial Day with my family. And if they can help me, and as the good witch on my journey, get back to my lollipops and unicorns, which is, being out on the boat. So that and everything, I don't care if it's a light switch or heating, air conditioning, there's always a problem when customers come to you. What is that problem? How do you help them solve that problem? And by the way, do you tell them how they're going to feel before you start working with them? So there's a lot involved in storytelling. I can go a whole day on storytelling, but it's this simple wiggle formula. I can tell you can use this for blogs. You can use this for any kind of format where you have to get a message out, but you always keep it simple. What's the problem? What's the solution? How are they going to feel when I take care of them? All right. You want them to wiggle. Here's where people really miss the boat is the mortar element. And the biggest thing, in other words, what sticks all these stories together? Well, there's 5 elements actually, which I'll get to in a second, but here's the one people miss the most. It's called the difference maker. The difference maker. In other words, why you instead of the other 57 hockey pucks that do what you do, man. Did I make that emphasize enough? I hope so. I can't make that sound any more better. I can tell you again, you got to have a difference maker. How many people do what you do? And by the way, how many people do what you do and say they do it better than you and they do it cheaper than you? Everyone. That's the marketplace. So you got to stand out. You got to have something that a differentiating idea, unique selling proposition. I've heard them all over 40 years, but it's got to stand out. I grew up in the land of dairy cows of Wisconsin. If you see a herd of cows, it's no big deal. When I'm down here in Texas now and for 25 years, I'm still kind of wowed by these old longhorns down here. They're pretty cool when I see them. But you know what? You never stop for a herd of cows. You ever on this summer vacation? Have you any vacation? Have you ever stopped? Pull the kids out of the car and go, look, kids, a herd of cows. I think not. Cows are pretty boring and dull, and they're under fire right now. And also, but if you're driving down the road, no matter where you are, north, south, east, west, and you saw a purple cow, you go, wait a minute. Never. In other words, what's your purple cow? There's a guy you can, in fact, if you just Google marketing right now, you're going to come up with one of the top 3 choices with a guy named Seth Godin, who's the master of marketing, legend in marketing. And when I called up Seth and asked permission to use his example, he was very gracious, and I put it in my book, Toes, Heart, and Mind. But he also told me to share with you, please buy every book written by Seth Godin. All right, so that's my obligation. Seth, if you're out there, I did it again. So, but the point is, that's a wow, man. What are you doing to go so your customers go, wow? What's your purple cow? That was the whole point of that book, is what are you doing to stand out, to differentiate? Because people will go stop. Here's the problem. Most of us are like these people. And I'm dead serious. What do you mean? Most of us as business owners, in the eyes of our customers, we look like these guys. Well, not really like they, but stay with me, okay? What do I mean by that? Well, both these guys ran for the office of District 42 in Fargo, North Dakota, eh? They're both in the 30s. They both grew up in Fargo. They both went to Minnesota State University, Mankato, or I think it's actually Fargo, Moorhead. So it's Minnesota State University, Moorhead graduates. They both, as you can see, wear glasses. They both have beards, as you can see. And wait for it. Are you waiting? Wait for it. That's right. They're both named Ben Hansen. Now, how would you like to be on a ballot box and hope you get elected with, what's the difference? You know, the only difference is they have a different middle initial. One guy was M and the other guy is W. So that ain't good. I can't even tell you who won the election now, but that's not the point. And then the senator gets involved too. I don't know what she's doing. So, but the point is, we're all Ben Hansons. We can't afford to be Hanson. You got to stand out in the mind. If you really want to have what Laura Reese calls your battle cry, what's your stake in the ground, and say, we're these guys. Are you the fast people? Are you the cheap one? Are you the expensive? Are you the what is it you do oh so good that people talk about you and say, you got to try these people out? And most of you have that, you just don't realize it, or you haven't data mined that and made a statement. Because the problem with a lot of business owners is you want to be a lot of things to a lot of people, and that's called death on the installment plan. Get a bricks and mortar campaign and start talking to people, no matter what brand channel you're in a consistent way. These should be in every brick story you tell. What's your difference maker? Who is the voice or the face or the mascot, the gecko, Geico, that carries it through? All right. Do you have an audio logo? Don't ask me, ask Liberty, 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 Lib. It's basically a radio jingle at the end of a TV ad, but it's very powerful. Put them on the map when that campaign was failing at the time. A visual logo, most of you have, but you don't, and you have your color, but you don't have a Pantone number to make sure that number is the exact same. There's 50,000 shades of blue, people. How do you know that billboard's going to match your Facebook logo and your blog? And so it's all got to come together. But these 5 elements generally you don't mess with auditorially or in terms of sight and sound. And now most of us don't do scratch and sniff. It's the 5 physical sounds, unless you're a restaurant, and they sure do that up in Mackinac Island with fudge and blow that smell out on the sidewalk. They call all the tourists up there fudgy. So that's the mortar, and that should be in every story you tell, and that's what ties them together. So whether right now, a fatal mistake, for instance, Traeger Grills is making, they've got this Follow the Pied Piper, which is an old 70s song, great song, and it's a great song, and it's on TV, and they're all running down the street following this grill. I don't know if they're playing it in your neck of the woods, but then you hear the radio ad and they don't play the song. It's like, you idiots, the song was made on radio, but they don't tie the jingle. You know, again, that jingle, no matter where, that should be on their website. You bring up the website, boom, the song, it ties it auditorily and visually. So no matter what brand channel, I get the repetition. You guys don't have a lot of much money. At least last time I knew, you don't have money to blow on advertising. You can't afford to. And we're doing it right now anyway. So whatever money you spend, and it's so little amount of money, it better all be tied together. You're not P&G. You're not even Hershey's and or Heinz. Heinz, by the way, they just did the reverse product placement. Past the Heinz, that was developed by Don Draper on a TV show, and they decided to use it 4 years later, and it actually worked. So and those are their words. Past the Heinz is what they use now. So 15 minutes, 15%. I think you know who that is. So what are your words? What's your difference maker? Okay, and those other elements you really need. All right. So let's keep moving. Assuming you got a bricks and mortar campaign, let me kind of show you how it works. In my third book, here's a good example. So you got your bricks laid out for the year. Right now, for 2021, all the bricks are done for my clients. Actually, we're working on 2022 right now because you only do about 8 to 10 bricks a year in terms of a brand campaign. All right. Now you do tactically other things, sales activation, but I'm just talking about the big picture here. So let me show you how this kind of works on the mind over time. So here's the script, and you're going to hear again, the story is 90% of the ad, but you also hear those consistency factors like the voice, the jingle, and again, those difference maker words. Steve, for many years now in Jefferson City, Columbia, is you got a friend in the pest control business. All right. And here's how it sounds. You tell me which brick, story brick, were we using. And actually, the first script's right there in front of you, so you shouldn't miss this one. All right, here we go.
Itty bitty little disgusting icky feet. 6 of them, skittering by your head while you sleep, nestling down against your skin and diving in for a bite. That's how bedbugs live, you know, off of you. Bedbugs are like the vampires of the arthropods, drinking your blood while you sleep. Vampires, except not like the sexy ones in those old-time movies. So it seems you have 2 choices. Burn every bed and pillow you own in a gigundous fire, or call your friend Steve.
I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. If you want your bed bugs removed, eradicated, or just plain old-fashioned dead, we're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
From the tiniest mites to the meanest moles, call Steve's Pest Control. Online at stevespestcontrol.com.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business, Steve's
All right, so 6 weeks in a row, we're telling that story against the same hearts and minds, the same group of people. We call them cups, which I'll explain in a minute. So which brick was that? Of course, that was the bed bug brick. All right. So after 6 weeks, you keep going. What's the next one?
While you sit there unaware, they are coming at you. It's what the pest control people call the fall invasion. They know the cold is coming. They know your house is warm and dry, and they want in. Who can help us? Who?
Hi, I'm Steve, your friend in the pest control business. I will solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
He guarantees it. Contact Steve's Pest Control today at stevespestcontrol.com.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business, Steve's Pest
All right. Again,
Control.
always starts with the problem. Who's the rescue? Your friend Steve, your Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's going to help you out and get you back on your journey and be a hero to your family and make sure there's no bugs in their house. That was fall treatments. Which one was this?
He's the kind of guy who would tell you that you have broccoli in your teeth.
You have a little something right there.
He'll tell you if your new girlfriend is bad news.
Dude, she's bad news.
And he isn't going to let you walk out the door and embarrass yourself.
Psst, hey, barn door. Barn door. Barn door.
Thank you.
He's your friend Steve from Steve's Pest Control, the friend that is going to come to your house and fix your pest problem. Fix it, eradicate, eliminate, kill the pests. And when it's done, he'll give you a good old Missouri handshake and guarantee the job is done.
I'm Steve, your friend in the pest control business. When any of my crew from Steve's Pest Control come to solve your pest problem, the problem will be solved. I guarantee it.
When you find one bitey bed bug or a congregation of cockroaches, call your friend Steve at Steve's Pest Control. Online at stevespestcontrol.com.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business, Steve's
This is a slow flood rising. Of course, that was the Friends brick. But again, you don't stop here. These are looked at in annual terms, 52 weeks and it's a slow drip. You want to keep the same reader, viewer, listener pinned down, and you want to keep like boulders down a mountainside. Every 6 weeks, a new brick coming at them. At the end of the year, they don't know why. They just know they know you. And that's the beauty, especially in your top of your funnel, which we're going to get to next, if you're using intrusive media like broadcast. All right. But, if you use the wiggle principle, well, again, Steve's customer is a hero. We're trying to help him be bug free. In that last ad, what we're talking about bugs and barn door was the wicked witch. The good witch is always your friend Steve to help you on your journey. And lollipops and unicorns is peace of mind. And that's how a guy went from a Camaro and a spray can, literally, to 53 shiny trucks and sales in excess of 8 million plus.
You know, at first the phone wasn't ringing off the wall necessarily, but we had some really good commercials, and now you guys had a big part of that, and the jingle we have that we still use today, same exact jingle. I was finding customers would say, "Hey, I love that commercial. That jingle is great," and I would hear people, and then people would just come up to me that I didn't even know and tell me, and I could just tell just because of that, you know, it was definitely getting out, you know. I'd have total strangers come up to me and sing the jingle. That still happens.
So, and Steve's not alone, by the way. I could take you through my clients for the last 20 plus years, where we jumped a meat market in Peoria, 1.3 million. Just in the first year alone, we got them up from 6 to over 10. But they're 3 meat obsessed Allman boys working hard to keep the legacy of one of America's great meat markets alive right here in Peoria. That's their difference maker. How about ABC Seamless Siding, the largest in the country? #1 steel siding country in the world, the No Quacks company, because there's no cracks in the siding. It's seamless, of course. Kitchens made in the tradition of my slightly obsessive Amish heritage. Oh, you're the quality guy. Again, it's the words. And sometimes if you use words like quality and service, which are the worst words ever in advertising, you got to say it without saying it. That's how you say quality, slightly obsessive Amish heritage. Studs to Rugs in Fargo, they were the basement experts. We bring your upstairs, downstairs. We went from nothing to 4.5 million in a number of years. And the guys in the Mad City, homeowners and more homeowners in Mad City have trusted Mad City Roofing than anyone else for the past 20 years. That's how you say legacy or leader. Just a couple of hardworking Wisconsin boys, Mad City. So you get the idea. In fact, you really want to, when you really get good, you get it down to just a couple words that your difference maker. These guys, they nailed it, right? Cramalot. Beautiful. The name, there's their difference maker, the heart of that whole storage business. All right. So let's keep rolling. You got customer focus. You got a good business. Now you know how to tell your message with bricks and mortar. Let's talk about media usage. All right. #1 rule, and this is so easy, it's so basic and so easy to fix, is people always try to reach more people than their budget allows. Okay, it's called the little bit syndrome. A little bit here, a little bit, a little bit, little bit. And you all these media cups that we call, every media out there's a cup. There's a Facebook cups, and there's radio cups, and there's TV cups, and there's billboard cups, and there's retargeting cups. Most of those are what we call tactics. All right, but the key is we get in way too many cups. If I looked at most of your ad budgets right now, I could probably take half of what you're doing, get rid of it, and take the money that you save and double down on the remaining half. Your ad budget will work much better just doing that. Taking what you've got, take half out, but take the money and double down on the remaining half. Focus. The power of focus is everything. And the concentration of forces is the decisive point of battle. You always concentrate your forces at the decisive. So if you're in a media cup, then by God, own the cup or get out. If you're going to do Facebook well, and don't be doing TikTok until you got Facebook. And by the way, I wouldn't mess with Facebook till you get your website, which is the home base in the digital space, right? So, and most of our clients, we advise them, do the things you at least can control. #1, your website and your mailing list, your customer list. After that, everything else is a platform you're using or someone else's. So work on things for sure that you can own and maintain for many years. The other thing, besides not filling the cups and being in way too many cups, so cut out the cups, and you're the business owner, you figure that out, but it's called the wrong mix. Even if you have what's the right mix? Do you have a media mix, or do you have a mess? So I do have the data here for you today. Okay, my data is I get paid on results, so I can tell you what works really good, because at the end of the year, that's what I'm paid on. If sales go up, guess what? I'm doing good. My kids are fat and sassy. If we have a bad year, I don't get paid. If their sales go down, I go down, and my kids start screaming, and I got fat little spoiled kids, believe me. So things have been working pretty good. So, but here's the data to back up what I'm talking about. Les Binet and Peter Field have been looking at effectiveness, what really works with ad spending, for 30 years. They measured 1,000 campaigns, 83 different data points, per campaign. That's 83,000 data points. My good partner in crime, Johnny Molson, who helped me write and produce the Steve's Pest Control campaign, probably talked about with us in a previous Wicked seminar with you. But these guys wrote a book, $63 book, which is the finest book on media usage that I know. It's called The Long and the Short of It. And they talk about you got two choices, and what's the better one? Sales activation, short-term bursts, or long-term brand building? And basically the answer is yes. You need both. And the right mix, if I'm going to cut to the chase for you, is about 60-40. 60% of the ones that won, the companies that had the most success in terms of sales had a 60-40 mix. 60% long-term, 40% short-term. Let me show you a different way. In other words, brand equity was 60% of the funnel. Okay. And again, at the top of the funnel, you want massive reach, getting people into the funnel. And that's why broadcast, frankly, I think works much better than even any digital space. But when you're pulling people in, it's fewer people, they're ready to buy. And that's when you target with digital on the sales activation side. And this 1-2 punch using broadcast as a reach and digital as a targeted is pretty powerful stuff. And some people, Chuck, TV. Well, if you do TV, by the way, it gets expensive. We tend to buy, if we do TV at all, news only, because that's the only thing that doesn't get zapped these days is live newscasts. And all the studies show that's the one thing they can't zap through. But broadcast radio, frankly, is a lot cheaper, and I can get a lot more done with a lot less money and the same or better results. In fact, if you look at what's called the brand pyramid, where people spent their time during the pandemic last year, an hour or more. Tune in had iHeartRadio, 15%. People ask me the time. Spotify, you can see 16%. Disney Channel was up 21%, 22%. But Netflix, 55% of all the people spent at least an hour or more with Netflix. Facebook, number 2, 72% of all people spend an hour or more with Facebook each week. But look at number 1. The dirty little secret that I wouldn't have believed it 20 years ago, but AM, FM broadcast radio is still number 1 for reach. 90% of all people spend an hour or more with broadcast radio every week. In other words, the ear is as powerful as the eye. And again, together they're big, but don't discount how powerful it is, because Steve's Pest Control did it totally on radio. We didn't have digital 19 years ago. Believe me, the iPhone was just coming out 19 years ago. And what happened to MySpace, by the way, and Yahoo. And so things change, okay? But what hasn't changed is the power of broadcast. And sometimes people younger that don't understand. Here's an old guy who is kind of surprised about someone's reaction about radio.
How do you find your music, what you listen to?
Radio.
You still listen to radio? Yeah.
Wait a minute. You still listen to radio?
Well, a lot of people.
Don't you?
A lot of people don't listen.
In the car.
Well, is
Don't
it like
listen to anything
is
in
it
the
like a
car.
satellite radio station, or are you listening to old kind
just
of?
a little thing with a knob.
All right.
Ding. Radio. FM.
Yeah. Well, I noticed you drive yourself around. You drove up here today. What are you listening to in the car? Radio?
Radio.
Powerful stuff. And here's why it works so good. My favorite place in the world is right there, Lambeau Field. All right. Got my Bart Starr autograph when I was 5, living in Madison, Wisconsin. But that's why this works, because when you use any radio station, I can beat anyone with a gospel punk radio. It doesn't matter how big the stadium is. It's the key is the same people in the same stadium, so I can hit them every day with my storytelling. Look at it this way. When you're running about 20 to 25 ads a week is what you do in broadcast radio to brand, and you do that every week for 52 weeks. That's 1,092 times you're sitting there with your cup of coffee telling people in the same stadium, like me, just like me. And they're not all going to like you, but a year from now, you're going to get enough people like you that'll think of you when they need your product service, before they need your product. But that's what we call frequency and consistency. If I can get the same message against the same hearts, the same minds, and I can do that, hit you with a 3 frequency basically every week, that's basically brainwashing. You don't know why, you just know. And this started actually with a jeweler in Springfield, Missouri that went from 300,000 to 19 million, single location, named Woody Justice Jeweler. All right, the last measure, 4 keys to bonding. We talked about you can't have lipstick on a pig. You got to be customer focused. You got to be a good business. All right. If you got a good message and you got good media usage now, and you're not making, then let's end up with here the measures. Okay. And it's pretty simple, frankly. Number 1 is you never confuse activity with results. And that's the biggest thing. I can show you right here. One of my clients, we just boosted their post. They got 9,211 impressions for $175. Big whoop. No, I've never had an impression walk in and buy anything from those guys. I don't look at this crap. You know what I look at? I look at the back end. It's called Google Analytics. How many people from Facebook went to their website? That's the #1 measure. Isn't that what you're trying to do? All the social media you do is designed to drive people to your web. So look at the #1 metric. Did it work? Did it at least get, that still didn't guarantee they bought anything. That was just still activity. The true measures are here. #1, ask and answer this question before you spend a dime, or don't do it. What is success? If you can't answer that question, don't spend the money. All right. Once you say, yeah, this, then here are our measures we use with our clients. #1 is sales, obviously, industry sales, market share, you need 1 or 2 measures, never use just one. But these are all things that resonate generally on your profit and loss sheet. I can't control your profits. I can control your sales as long I get people to you, as long as you take care of them. But those are the things we look at. And there's a whole nother set of digital metrics that we use for our clients as well. And I'm not the expert at that, certainly, but we look at the total dollars that they're spending and we say, how can we continue to make them money? And if it works, something like this happens.
We came up with the campaign to be the slightly obsessive Amish family and the traditional my own slightly obsessive Amish family. The commercials were a little bit silly, but we began to do this stuff, and as we did, it began to grow our brand. Margins took off. We run anywhere from a 35% closing rate on a regular basis. And from 2004 to 2007, we tripled the business. And then currently this year, we're up the highest we've ever been. We've been averaging anywhere from 30 to 28% growth. Being branded is a huge asset. All we have to do is give a customer a reason to buy from us, and they do. As long as we're in competitive mode, and we're pretty competitive, they're going to buy from us even if we're a little more expensive, because they want a kitchen lane kitchen. And that's what you want when you're branded.
And when we have a good year, you go, like we celebrated with Key West. That's my wife, Roanne, and Brad, and some guy got a selfie, photobombing that picture, apparently. Steve's Pest Control. Again, I actually work with Steve vicariously. He's a great guy and has been doing this 19 years and literally went from a Chevy Camaro and a spray can to 53 trucks and 8 million plus easy.
I was invited to come to a branding seminar that you are actually
Yikes.
on.
And so here we are today, one of his gleaming trucks. And again, it's not just Steve. You put that formula, you can see Steve in the upper right, but all those companies are in Jeff City, Columbia area, and they've all worked the 4-step system, and they're all top of mind businesses, top of mind car wash, top of mind roofing, top of mind HVAC, because they've for many years been storytelling and using the brand transformation system. So the definition of legacy,
I wanted it to be a legacy that I was hoping that my kids would want to be involved in the business. And my son wasn't even born when we started the business. And now they're both here in the company. They're both part owners of the company. We work together on a day-to-day basis. And it's just fun working together, growing the business, and just, the satisfaction of doing a great job for people who are very appreciative of it and just think the world of you because of we constantly go above and beyond what they even expect.
that's
all the
a
time.
great business owner. And Steve, thanks for helping out. If you want to hear his whole story, just wherever you follow podcasts, type it in Brand Camp, and you can hear the whole hour version of Steve's interview, my interview with Steve, on how he built that legacy business and how he's the biggest, baddest pest control guy that I know, a single location in America right now. If you'd like the videos on how you have the 3 biggest reasons to why your ads fail and you want to avoid those, just write to Natalie at brandstransformation.com, and she will send you those videos. You might want to check out the Brand Camp tour. We'll be coming at a city near you. Chances are, if you live in the Midwest, broadcast companies, media companies hire our company to come in and perform brand camps. We'll actually be in La Crosse in a week or 2, and then Sioux Falls, and you can see the rest. But 11 cities coming to a city near you. So check it out. They're absolutely free if you'd like to join us, and you can learn the at least 3-hour free version of Brand Camp and have some fun. We also next year have the 2-day version in Springfield, and that'll be fun too. And for Wicked Smart viewers, 50% off today if you want to get on brandstransformation.com and check out the books. That's all I've got, Andy. Thank you very much. there's my timer going off too.
All right. Thanks, Chuck. You wouldn't mind stopping sharing so I could promote the next.
I'm gonna do that right now. I just got to bring it up here. Sorry about that.
So if you have any, right now we don't have any chat or questions in the chat. So right now we'll field some questions while we're getting this figured out. So I can introduce the
This
next.
is new share. Oh, stop share. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that.
All right. What questions do we have? Does anyone have a question for Chuck or want to talk through any of the examples that he went through today? So Chuck, when you take this, I mean, you covered a lot. Before I ask my question, looks like someone has one. So, so Tony wants to know why or how you get paid by your clients.
Great question. I have a base that we charge them, but the big money over time, my average client's over 9 years, actually, as you can probably tell. But we set our goals. We decide what we want to do the sales every year. And if we hit that number, exceed it, or whatever percentage we're above that, I'm paid a percentage just like they have. And if they go down 20%, then I go down 20%. If we're up 25%, then they go, let's make it that way. It's simplest to explain that way. So yeah, we have a base retainer to perform our services and the media buying and the creation of the content, et cetera. But basically, if they win and have a up year in sales, then whatever they're up, we're up, and whatever they're down, we're down. So we're paid on a monthly basis, and it's based roughly, I would say we come in between 15, probably 20% of their ad budget, or our costs are.
Cool. So if you were if you were in let's say an elevator, you had 60 seconds to 1 or 2 minutes to explain, like, hey, this is what you should do right now as a business owner, like an exercise or suggestion to just kind of get the ball rolling and get started. What would you recommend them to do?
Probably a checkup from the neck up, and make sure you got your A game going, because business will go. If you invite these people, they're going to show up, and you don't want to be there not doing the best thing you can, because your job as a business owner is to get them back. I've worked with plenty of guys over time, men and women, where we can put people in their funnel, but they couldn't keep them at the bottom, and they couldn't get the customer to come back. That's a lot of wasted money and a lot of wasted effort, frankly. So just make sure you got your A game going first. We have a tool called the Harvard School of Business Marketing Bridge, the 5 elements of any successful company. Advertising is just one of the 5. The other 4 is on the business owner's back. How's your sales force? How's your in-store market? All those things. So I would do that first, and then just build a plan. Say, I'm going to spend X amount, and here's where it's going to go. And the fewer places, frankly, the better. And that's the big thing, where you got to smack your hand and not get in too many cups. That's really a simple, easy thing to do. And your ad effectiveness will go up dramatically just by being a fewer cups, but going much deeper and making sure you're punching through and getting those people. My other analogy of that is, if I'm digging a pool, I can start a hole here, go down 5 feet, start another hole. I'd have a bunch of holes at the, and that's what a little radio, a little yellow page, a little T, a little web. If I just stay one plate and just keep digging, I might not get to China, but I'm going to have a pool. And that, if you're going to have a Facebook that works, you go deep. If you're going to have a radio that works, you go deep, and you do it for a long period of time. This isn't a 13-week deal. I always love the quote from the Wizard of Oz: the guy who invented the 13-week campaign should be dragged in the street and kicked to death, because you can't measure 13 weeks, man. I can measure 3 days, a weekend event, sales activation, or I can measure, did I up your brand and sales for a year? But 13 weeks, I'm all for exposure. It's just hard to measure.
Cool. Well, thanks, Chuck. What I hear is focus, focus, focus. That's what I hear. So
amen, brother. You got it.
I appreciate that. Appreciate your time. So we have 2 minutes left. So I will introduce our Wicked Smart webinar that's happening 2 weeks from today. Beat your competitors to your best customers by linking your SEO and content strategy. We have Pasquale Nocito, who was with us a few months ago. It was one of our better attended Wicked Smart webinar. So we brought him back. So he's going to talk about the method that HubSpot used to boost their blogs and improve their experience on their blog posts. He's also going to talk about how to acquire your best customers before your competitors by doing smart keyword research. And he'll share a shortcut on how to learn the exact words your customers are typing when they're looking for you, so they find you first. So if you have any questions that we didn't answer today, you can email teresa.tim@westsailingservices.com. Please go to our YouTube channel, like, share, and comment on this once we have it live here shortly. We appreciate all of you. And we are right around 2:15. So thank you everyone for being here. We really appreciate you. And thanks again, Chuck, for joining us today. You packed in a lot in a pretty short period of time. So thank you. Thank you.
Good thing you got the video and the slides. But thank you, y'all. Have a good, great Memorial Day weekend and have a great year. Blessings.